Okay, so today I want to talk about Brexit game theory. So this has to do with the UK Parliament, the British Parliament. There's about 500 MPs, members of Parliament, and there's the party that has the majority is made up of mostly conservatives, plus they aligned themselves with a smaller party called the DUP party. That's an Irish party. And so they control the government. And there's a smaller party called Labour, and they have less people than the majority. So the Prime Minister proposed a deal for Brexit. But the problem with the deal is, especially the Irish guys don't really like it. So when it came time to vote, the Irish guys said, no, we won't vote for it. And so now you have less than the majority. And so that deal didn't pass. And the Labour Party, they'd probably prefer another deal. Maybe they prefer to revoke Article 50, but they don't have enough in the majority to pass their deal. Or maybe they prefer a second referendum. But again, they don't have enough. So it's kind of a stalemate. No one has enough to pass a deal. Now there's another thing that could happen called a no-deal Brexit. And pretty much everyone agrees that they wouldn't like it, except there is a small sliver of people that would actually love a no-deal. They're conservatives. So the way what the EU, the European Union, has said is that if Parliament can't come to a decision, then they're just going to leave under the terms of international treaty, and there will be no deal. And this, I think most people except this little sliver agrees that that would be a catastrophic situation. But however, if these guys can't agree, if these guys can't form a majority, then that no deal Brexit will happen. So that's actually a very significant risk, and it could happen in the coming week or two. And it's an interesting question how this Parliament could avoid this no deal scenario. And a lot of people would like to figure out what to do about that. One way to solve it would be, let's say, instead of requiring a majority, you only required a plurality. That seems reasonable, right? Like, if no one can command a majority, let's just go with the biggest number of votes. But when you think about that, if we were to do that, then the Prime Minister's deal might well win. And that's not what these guys would like at all. And so that seems like not a very advantageous approach for these guys over here. And so even though maybe that's a good way to reach a resolution, I don't think to get to a situation where we approve a plurality rather than a majority, someone would have to vote to approve that deal, and you would have to have a majority, and that wouldn't happen. And so that sounds kind of rational, but I really don't think it's going to happen. And so you have to question. It's sort of a game of chicken. Now at some point, it could come to a point where it's going to be a no deal, or else these guys have to vote to revoke Article 50. And that's a game of chicken. Like, let's say these guys saw that unless they revoke Article 50, now you're going to get a no-deal Brexit. Would they now vote for Article 50? If they did, then they would be conceding to these guys over here, essentially. where what they wanted was this prime minister's deal. So there's sort of a little game theory going on. In another approach, one could imagine there's a small slice, not these guys, but a small slice of these guys that would agree to something over here, like perhaps a customs using. Perhaps there's an approach that some people over here would be agreeable to, and that could form a majority. So that's a really interesting thing that could happen. So you can see it's really up in the air, and there's no clear solution. The best actually would be something like this, where a majority was formed, and then it wouldn't have to play chicken, and everything could go smoothly. But it's hard to say that that's going to happen.